Okay, welcome back to the fourth episode of my Minecraft Survival Showcase series. Honestly, didn't think I'd get this far, but here we are. Now, in the fourth episode, we will be dealing with the time period from mid 2019 to around 2022. This is the period of my life where I transitioned into adulthood. Now, being someone who had at that time just finished my master's engineering, I came to the hard truth that a lot of my knowledge was purely theoretical, and I needed some practical knowledge because adult life is practical. So, in the first 6 months of my adulthood, I started a job that wasn't engineering related, and that job had physically and mentally depleted me. And by the time I quit that job, the COVID pandemic had started. That was, I think it was the 16th of March when the lockdown procedure uh, began. And at that point, I was kind of starting to develop this part of the world a bit more. I left the starting area of the newer part we discussed about in the last episode, and started venturing deeper into the so-called dark enchanting forest. So this build here is kind of one that came up in the middle of that process, but because it's the first one on the screen now, we're gonna have to kind of elaborate on it. This build was supposed to be a kind of a monument to the first cylinder mob farm that I had built back in 2017 in this world, and I made it from the materials that I always wanted to build it from because, like I had all the materials, I had all the resources, and I could make it as pretty as I wanted to. Look at this transition and the beautiful sunset and sunrise in Minecraft. I had used the same design. I spawn proofed it against spider spawning and kind of made it a bit more automatic in a sense so that I added these turtle eggs, and the turtle eggs attract zombies, and that makes the farm a tiny bit faster, not a lot, but it's doable. But because of that pillar in the middle, uh, spiders aren't allowed to spawn here because they would clog up this center shaft that leads to the death of all of these mobs. And eventually, I built this little. Let's go down a bit faster. Whoop! Built this kind of like a little collection chamber. Uh, Kind of looks nice and cozy with some campfires and a big target. That's where they're supposed to hit. They're playing a live darts tournament, but to their deaths. And built this. I don't think this is sorted. No, this is just raw input. So all the drops end up in here. Bone. For those of you who are watching this and you're not a Minecraft player, bones can be converted to bone meal, which can then be used to jumpstart wood farms, and wood is very useful for a variety, not only decorative blocks, but also redstone components in general, and a very useful farm in its own way. So let's go back to 2019, 2020. I started developing more of the forest path, and I wanted to go a bit further on my medieval town project area. And so I searched for a spot that I kind of liked, and I found this. It was not far away from where I started that new part of the world. And In the beginning, it looked very barren. There wasn't a lot to do. It was a plains biome, and as the name suggests, it was very plain. And I'll post a picture in the thumbnail of what it looked like when I first got here. So my idea was to build this giant encompassing wall that goes all around the village and kind of protects it from outer dangers. And at first, I wanted to build these kinds of medieval towers and houses. If you recognize this, this is from the 1.14 update Pillage and Village, or Village and Pillage. I copied this block by block from a reference image on Google. I didn't know how to use Schematica and Lightmatica tools at that point. So it was just, copy paste back and forth, which does get arduous after a while. The wall design that I've made here is somewhat of a later development. Uh, One of the techniques I use as a survival player with uh, a limited set of resources, and when it comes to building walls, I take a bunch of saplings and I plant those saplings and grow them into this thick wood and tree wall. And at first, that was really the only thing that protected this area against invading forces, which in Minecraft are just hostile mobs, but it doesn't hurt to give it a bit of a story. So at first, I wasn't that interested in this wall being kind of like a finished product. I was more interested in building these watchtowers I could kind of get in here and maybe climb if I... Oh, I have a ladder here after all. And I could get here and maybe I could, look through these gaps and see if there are enemies approaching. And as is the theme of this world, I could feel protected, against the emptiness of Minecraft. Although in these later versions, this was 1.15 and 1.16, uh, Minecraft was a lot more populated than was back in the day. So it wasn't as empty as before, and that meant that wasn't I I didn't feel inclined to build more of these protective structures, but I did them anyway because that's my style. Kind of built this little nook and cranny, planted this wither skeleton on top of a fence. It kind of looks like a miniaturized wither. It's not a real wither. It's not like I had the let loose that monstrosity of a boss mob in this place, but it serves as a nice little a bust of a wither. And at first I had these little medieval houses with some pumpkin patches and tiny little gardens, but as before, I realized it didn't really fit my style. Here's an example of it. It looks okay, it looks picturesque, it looks cozy, but it's not me. It's not what I do. It's not what I, wanted to do. I wanted to defy gravity. I wanted to do what my inner child wanted to do. And these houses, they weren't it. So I started a series of industrial farms that would fuel my creativity in this game, so I wouldn't need to switch to creative so much anymore because I had, a steady supply of materials inside of this squat building is a is a chorus farm, which admittedly is kind of useless because, as you can see, this isn't a block that I use a lot. You can craft these purple blocks from the chorus fruit, but they have such a distinct color and texture to them that they're not really useful to someone who, uses this kind of a block palette. So I will just go over the various farms I've built in this area. So one of the first farms was this cactus farm. This, I believe, is a design by a Minecraft Hermitcraft YouTuber called Wells Knight. He made a couple of these really easy to understand, simple farms that have a very large output and can satisfy any player's needs. And at first it was like a couple of levels because I didn't have a lot of materials to build with, but as time went on, I expanded it and made it into what it is today, and decided to leave this rooftop open so we can get this cool visual effect. Kind of looks like it's going into infinity. And I built this furnace array house. This was at a time when I was using the block pixel texture pack, which is a really unique, really cool texture pack that is, as far as I know, discontinued, which is a real shame because I really enjoyed playing in it, and I really liked the design of the furnace texture, so I kind of copied it here with the blocks I had available, and I made a small furnace array in it. Let's open these doors. This entire interior has gotten a revamp a couple of years, I guess months ago at this point. Wanted to make it as cozy as possible and as close to the original vision that I could. Uh, this here is, I believe, an El Mango design, but don't take me not for that word. I'm not sure. It uses a really neat design. You have a chest here, and then you have I think two or four hopper mine carts, which really take the items of this chest as fast as possible, and they deposit them into these hoppers, and the hoppers deposit them into these 8 chests. And I have a similar thing on the left side, so I can smelt items rather quickly. And later on, I built this. This is my own design of a furnace array. Really, you only have like you have two hopper mine carts that get filled up with coal or whatever material you use to burn your ore or other material that needs to be smelted, and of course the material that gets smelted. But I rarely ever use it because this design fulfills all of my needs. So if we go outside, you can look at it in all its glory. Kind of looks like a derpy face. Added a rooftop recently, spawn proofed it because I didn't want to use any torches, so it makes it look okay. Then we have this pumpkin and melon farm, which is currently off because the amount of items it produces is so large that I don't know what to do with all those items. I might as well just destroy them, and then it helps not to listen to pistons constantly firing off and on. And I just I went on this journey of building as many farms as possible, in the time that I had as an adult, because when COVID ended, I needed to find a new job, and I found one in engineering. It's the one I still work to this day. I had then fulfilled my dream of buying myself a gaming laptop. This is around the time when I built that smelting unit back then, and this bamboo farm. I got this laptop that I'm currently playing on. And this is really nice timing for my farm to, you know, turn itself on just as I'm looking at it. But I've turned off the item collection system because, as I said, I built these highly efficient farms that I don't really need in my world. But it's nice to have them ticking around in the background, and it's always a refreshment to build technical projects for a change. You don't need a lot of creativity in it. You just need to apply some logic and a tiny bit of engineering if you want to get all specific about it. And this is a kind of like a pylon type thing that I built and recently also refurbished to make it seem kind of more grounded, I guess. Or it gave me the idea when I built this. Is this deep slate polished deep slate stairs? gave me kind of like this idea. I mean, maybe I could build a bunch of this throughout this large industrial area, make it seem like this is a place where technology and I guess the magic of technology kind of comes from deep below the ground and into the real world and transforms the surrounding landscape, and the pylons kind of help power that transitionary change. And here we have a couple of those starter houses that I had built in the beginning. I don't believe there's much of anything in them except a simple interior. Let's go outside. There was a birch house here at first, but I think it was around 2022 when I built this flower farm design and made this area into something a bit more useful than just a simple birch house. And if I remember correctly, I used it as a hen house. Like chickens were bred, and you know, I could get like food from it, the roasted chicken, yeah. And after a while, I figured that I'm getting so many items from these farms, I oughta, uh, organize my items into chests and build a chest house. So I built this. This is my own design of some kind of I don't know, this would be a rich man's or a rich woman's house in medieval times, maybe in this Minecraft setting, I guess. It's not quite finished, but it has a bunch of items that I don't know what to do with. Not yet. And let's see, what else can I show you in this episode that pertains to this industrial area and to the 2019-2022 period. Oh yeah, I remember it. Now I remember why I don't want to remember it. So the first thing is the villagers. Now I've mentioned villagers back in the past. If you remember, I dug this 70,000 blocks. That is a lot of blocks to mine a survival, and I mined all that to build this villager trading hall. And it turned out to be such a grindy project that I gave up. But in the future, villagers got updated in the 1.14 update, and they were less grindy to work with. So I was determined, let's build the villager trading hall. But why make it easy? Why make our life easy when we can make it complicated? So let's hop into spectator. And I love what I did with the design to protect it from lightning strikes, because lightning strikes can turn villagers into witches, and that kind of ruins this whole concept here. This, I believe, is so when it came to building these farms that were highly efficient, or farms that dealt with the design features of Minecraft that I wasn't well acquainted with, I would just look up a tutorial from a well-known YouTuber, well-known Minecraft YouTuber, and copy that design into my world. Because, the name of the game is to avoid burnout and avoid stress, so why spend hours tinkering and figuring out these concepts and these complex mechanics when I can just, copy the design and, just enjoy other parts of the game. And I built this really easy villager breeding setup. This is a design that I believe was made by Logical Geek Boy, who's also a Minecraft YouTuber, and it produces a lot of villagers. And what I could have done, I could have set this villager hall right here, but I didn't want to do that because I wanted to leave this part, this area, open to the rest of the world, because as you can see, there is no outer wall here. There's nothing to shield it from the outside world. So I transported all of those villagers through this terrain and back here. And let's speed things a bit. And into this nether portal. And we're gonna jump back to creative, kablam, kablamo. And we're gonna jump back to spectator mode because it's a bit faster. I originally built this tunnel to transport them, and transporting villagers in boats on a diagonal tunnel is a significant pain in the backside. And there was a moment where this entire room was filled with villagers and boats. And it took me about a year to build this whole thing. Because, I was working at that time, and my job is essentially Minecraft, but I get paid for it. It's 3D mechanical engineering design. And my philosophy back then was I just spent 8 hours at work looking at a screen. I don't want to look at a screen when I get back home. I mean, I like Minecraft. I love Minecraft. It is the game that defines my video gaming experience. It's a part of my life, but it's also screen time. So, you know, it took me more and more time to build these projects, but I was taking it easy. One of the beautiful things about you know, approaching large scale projects is you can divide them into smaller projects. You don't have to take it all at once. And there's this really great YouTuber, Wristwatch Revival. He restores mechanical watches, and he says the beauty about that hobby is that you can take apart a watch, the watch movement, and you can start restoring it. And then at any moment, the very moment you become frustrated or bored or just tired, you can take all of the items you've disassembled, put them in a box, and leave it there for a while. And then after you've rested, you can come back to it and you can finish what you started. But you don't have to finish it completely. You can just finish a small segment of it. It's kind of like programming in a way. You solve one big problem by solving a bunch of little problems. And so I came to this area, and this area did not look like this. It was a hall. It was nicely decorated with these arches, but it had a lot of empty space, and I wanted to fill that space. And so I built these arrays of villagers, and I marked them with colors so it's nice and vibrant and shiny and filled it with villagers. And villagers are still pretty grindy. They require still a lot of finagling to get to the right position in 3D. But I made it work, and it was a successful mission that lasted all the way to, I believe it was late 2022. So from 2019 to 2022, I was mostly focused on building these technical Minecraft redstone engineering projects because I was kind of wasting all of my creativity on this job that, 3D design and mechanical engineering, it's not just logic, it's not just problem solving. Sometimes it takes a bit of creativity, a bit of intuition, and if you deplete the stores of creativity at work, not a lot is left for a highly creative game such as Minecraft. So I did, a bit of a refresher. I did technical projects in Minecraft, which, as I mentioned, they do not require a lot of creativity, just, a bit of time. And just like with those watches, you can start at any time you want. You can finish at any time you want. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do with this episode. I'm gonna finish it right here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.